Today I would like to share with you how minimalism has saved my finances, so I hope you stay tuned for this. Hi, if we haven't met yet, my name is Freya Casey and I'm an aspiring minimalist and kind of a health nut. I want to share with you today how minimalism has really saved my finances. Well, it all started actually with being a mess. Basically, my house was a mess, my finances were a mess, my paperwork was a mess, and it was just all too much. I was overwhelmed by pretty much all kinds of areas in my life. And the thing is that no one ever gets taught in school, or a lot of us, if our parents weren't really great with money, we also don't get taught by our parents how to handle money. And that's kind of crazy because I think that is a very basic life skill, and not having good control over your finances causes so much trouble in your life. So that's why I think it's so important to also teach your kids. So when my finances were a mess, it was actually partially caused by just having clutter in my home and not taking care of all my paperwork. So I had late fees because I just didn't know where all the bills were. I didn't have a system set up. And then of course also, I didn't have a budget, so I never really knew what's exactly coming in and what exactly is going out every month. And so I was often short on money. I kind of always got by and I always made it. I always made ends meet until I got pregnant, and then I had my daughter, and then it was like, oh my goodness, now I thought I could just go back to my life that I had before and just, I thought, well, a couple months of having a baby after that, and then it'll all be okay. And I'm self-employed. Well, little did I know that I would have kind of a crybaby. She was just very colicky and she had to be carried around constantly, 24 hours. She basically needed to be glued to my body. That was exhausting, and there was no one else who could actually provide what I could provide to her. So even when her dad would take her and stuff, it wasn't the same. She would not always calm down because I breastfed her, and that's the only thing that would calm her down. And so, my finances got into really bad shape, and I never really was taught to make a budget. And then when I started organizing my house, and when I really started reducing, I learned about finances. And what I learned was that it's kind of basic, but you need to know what's coming in so that you know what you can have go out. But that didn't happen until I had space. I had the mental space to actually start thinking about these things. And really, let me tell you, when I didn't have that mental space, when I was overwhelmed by a lot of things I had to do, and my house was just like, I had so much stuff and there were so many moving parts, I felt like I was always struggling. I always was nervous because just all the stuff lying around. I'm that type of person, when it's messy in the house, I also can't think right. And so as I kept organizing my house, I felt like I created some brain space to kind of have a better feeling of, and like an overview of what is happening and what's with my money. And then I started reading books about finances, and I started learning about things. And that all came out of that conviction that less but better is what I need to do. And then of course, becoming more of a minimalist and getting more and more organized. I mean, it's so much easier. The less stuff you have, the easier it becomes to stay organized. I mean, the problem was never to get organized. I would go ahead and clean and put forth a lot of effort and just declutter. But then it wouldn't stay that way. I would just go back, and after 2 or 3 months, everything was back to craziness and to clutter, and then I was back to ground zero. But only changing my mindset to where I wanted that life of having tons of space. I mean, space in my time, what I do during the day, space in my house to not see stuff everywhere, but just space, empty space. We need some empty space, and just changing my mindset to where constantly I'm looking for more ways to create that space where there's like white space, nothingness. That allowed me to really think about my finances. Really, honestly, only because I became a minimalist and I started focusing more on what can I just not have to do, even professionally? What are the things that actually move the needle? And what are the things that maybe I would love to do them, but they're not going to move the needle, and they're just going to cause me to have be distracted and have to commit time-wise? I cut those things off, and I made decisions to be just like rules. Just set up some rules. This is what I will do because this is my end goal, and this will take me to my end goal, and everything else I really just say no to. And saying no to almost everything, saying no to a lot of purchases that otherwise I would have totally made, has helped me to really free myself of that dependency of a lot of money that I need. And really, I don't need that much money anymore nowadays because I want more space. So I'm constantly even still reducing the things I own and the things I do. And that reduction creates more and more space. And as I feel that there has been a direct link to how much space I had in my house and in my mind and time-wise, and the finances. So my account kept growing, and I kept being more intentional, and I had a plan, and it's really fun. I made a budget. I mentioned it before, I use a tool called Every Dollar. You can go on that website, everydollar.com. It's by Dave Ramsey. There's a free version that I have been using, and it's really putting all the expenses and all the income for the month, and including savings goals, and including, if I wanted to remodel something, I'm putting money away for that. And you see how much money you already have saved for that. You can make all these really cool accounts in there, kind of a virtual account. And it's very motivating to see. I had so much debt just 5 years ago. It wasn't tons of amount, but lots of little things that I just basically was always using every penny of my earned money to pay. And now that portion of my money that goes to actual bills that have to be paid gets smaller and smaller because I reduce what I need, and the portion of the money that goes into that pot of I can do whatever I want with it gets bigger and bigger. But here's the thing, what I do want to do isn't just spend it on stuff, because that would mean I would have to get rid of it again because I'm a minimalist now. That pot of what I want to do whatever I want with, it goes into investments and savings, just because I think more long term, and I think of what is it that I ultimately really want in my life. And there's really just a few things. Family, my home to be beautiful. I want to have a nice home, and I'm so grateful we have this wonderful home. It's an old home, but it is so perfect for us right now. I used to think I need a bigger home because it's not enough space. But now we have so much space because we don't have stuff anymore. And see how that kind of triggers just that mindset of I don't need that much space because I don't need that much stuff. That means I also don't have to work that much because I don't need that much money to put into stuff, and I don't have that many financial responsibilities. It's kind of that chain reaction that really makes this hugest difference if you just change your mindset a bit. And really continuously educating myself on finances. I've been listening to podcasts for years now about investing and about finances, about real estate. Maybe one day I'll buy more real estate and invest in that. I don't know yet, but right now I'm not doing anything crazy financially, and I'm really just building my savings. But on the way, I'm having fun. I don't restrict myself terribly much. I don't feel like I totally restrict myself. I buy what I truly need, but I don't buy all that unnecessary stuff anymore. So I really encourage you to start changing your mindset to create more space just in your mind by reducing your time commitments, reducing the things that you need to spend money on. So if that means a living situation that maybe is cheaper, maybe you don't need a big place to live. Maybe you can do with a smaller place, because if you change your mindset, you might not need that much space because you can live in a smaller space. So thank you so much for watching today. That was just something I wanted to share with all my heart. I hope you stay healthy during these times, and hope you'll be back soon. Subscribe if you want more videos about cleaning, organizing, minimalism, and healthy lifestyle. I hope to see you next time. Bye.